Hello, dear English learner. Welcome back to another important and beneficial episode of our podcast. The podcast where we make English learning simple, effective, and fun. If you've ever felt like you know a lot of English words but can't use them in conversation, if you find yourself using the same simple words over and over, or if you feel your vocabulary limits your ability to express yourself fully, this episode is for you. Imagine this. You're sharing a story, and the perfect, precise words flow effortlessly. You understand subtle nuances in what others say, and you can express complex ideas with clarity and confidence. No more ums or ahs searching for words, just rich, expressive English. Sounds amazing, right? Well, today I'm going to show you how to build and actively use a powerful English vocabulary. I'm Jason, your host, and I'm here to help you become a confident English speaker. This podcast is part of our Code Your English channel, where we guide learners like you to speak English fluently, step by step. We believe that learning English should be an expansive, enjoyable process, not something restrictive or overwhelming. And guess what? You're not alone on this journey. We're building a community of English learners who help and support each other, and that's why your voice matters. If you ever feel stuck with your vocabulary, if you have any challenges or questions about learning new words, let us know. We want to hear from you. What are your biggest struggles with vocabulary? What kind of words or topics do you want us to cover? You can share your ideas, opinions, or any English learning problems, and we will do our best to create episodes that answer your questions with practical and academic advice. Because here at Code Your English, we don't just teach English. We solve problems, we give real solutions, and we make sure you stay motivated on your journey. And today we are tackling one of the most foundational topics in English learning: how to master English vocabulary for fluent conversations. Now, what does that mean? It means not just knowing words, but owning them, being able to recall and use them appropriately and naturally in speech. It means moving beyond passive recognition to active usage. And trust me, it's possible. In this episode, I will walk you through why a strong, active vocabulary is crucial for fluency. Common mistakes learners make when studying vocabulary. Practical techniques to learn, remember, and use new words effectively. A simple daily plan to expand your vocabulary systematically, and how to choose the right words for the right situations. By the end of this episode, you will have clear, actionable steps to transform your vocabulary and, as a result, your speaking skills. Whether you're learning English for academic purposes, career advancement, or richer daily interactions, this method will help you speak more articulately and confidently. So, are you ready to unlock a richer English vocabulary? Stay with me, and let's get started. Why a strong active vocabulary is crucial. Imagine this. You're in an important meeting or a casual chat, and you want to share a brilliant idea or a funny anecdote. You know the concept in your native language, but the English words just don't come. You resort to simpler, less precise language, and your message loses its impact. Sound familiar? This is a common frustration for English learners. You might have spent hours memorizing word lists, but when it's time to speak, those words seem to vanish. You feel like you're operating with a limited toolkit. But what if I told you that you can change this? That you can build a vocabulary that not only helps you understand, but also empowers you to express yourself with precision and flair. Let me give you a real-life example. Think about a skilled chef versus a novice cook. The novice might only know how to use salt and pepper. Their dishes are edible but perhaps bland. The skilled chef, however, has a vast array of spices and knows exactly when and how to use each one to create complex, delightful flavors. Your vocabulary is like your spice rack. The more words you actively command, the more flavorful and nuanced your communication becomes. Now, let's compare this to an adult learning English. Many focus on passive vocabulary, words they recognize when reading or listening, but active vocabulary, words they can readily use in speaking and writing, often lags behind. Why? Because they haven't practiced retrieving and using those words in context. So let's talk about why building a strong active vocabulary is so important. 1. It enables precise communication. Fluency isn't just about speaking smoothly, it's about conveying your exact meaning. With a wider vocabulary, you can choose the word that best fits the context, avoiding ambiguity. For example, instead of just saying good, you could say excellent, fantastic, beneficial, or constructive, each carrying a slightly different shade of meaning. If you're discussing a project's outcome, saying it was satisfactory is very different from saying it was outstanding. 2. It boosts your confidence significantly. When you know you have the words to express yourself, you feel more assured in conversations. You're less likely to hesitate or feel anxious about not finding the right term. Think about giving a presentation. If you're confident in your vocabulary, you can focus on your message and delivery, rather than struggling internally for words. This confidence shines through and makes your communication more impactful. 3. It enhances your comprehension. The more words you know, the better you'll understand complex texts, native speaker conversations, movies, and podcasts. Vocabulary knowledge is a cornerstone of comprehension. When you encounter new words in context and learn them, you're not just expanding your expressive ability, but also your receptive skills. You start to pick up on subtleties and idioms you might have missed before. 4. It allows for more engaging and interesting conversations. Using varied and appropriate vocabulary makes your speech more colorful and engaging for your listeners. You can tell better stories, make more persuasive arguments, and participate more fully in diverse discussions. Imagine discussing a book. Instead of saying, "It was a good book with good characters," you could say, "It was a captivating novel, with intricately developed characters and a thought-provoking plot." See the difference? 5. It opens doors to new opportunities. A strong command of English vocabulary is highly valued in academic and professional settings. It can improve your essays, reports, presentations, and job interviews. Whether it's acing an exam or impressing a potential employer, a rich vocabulary can be a significant asset. A great example is someone applying for an international role. Their ability to articulate their skills and experiences using precise vocabulary can make all the difference. Building an active vocabulary is not about memorizing a dictionary. It's about strategically learning and practicing words so they become a natural part of your everyday English. In the next section, we're going to explore how we actually learn and retain new words, and why some common vocabulary learning methods are not as effective as you might think. Plus, I'll give you some powerful techniques to help you start building a vocabulary you can actually use. So, stay with me and let's continue this journey together. How we learn and retain new words. Understanding the memory process. Our brain is incredible at learning, but it also has its own rules for what it decides to keep and what it lets go. When it comes to vocabulary, simply seeing or hearing a new word once is rarely enough for it to stick. Think of your memory like a filing system. For a new word to be easily retrieved, it needs to be filed correctly and accessed multiple times. Neuroscientists talk about spaced repetition and depth of processing. Spaced repetition means encountering the word at increasing intervals over time. Depth of processing means engaging with the word in a meaningful way. not just its definition, but its usage, its connections to other words, and its emotional resonance. What is a word? A word isn't just a collection of letters. It's a bundle of information. Its sound, pronunciation, its form, spelling, its grammatical function, noun, verb, adjective, its meaning, denotation, its connotations, the feelings or ideas it suggests, and its collocations, words it commonly appears with. To truly know a word, especially for active use, we need to grasp these different facets. Think about it. Children don't just learn dog. They learn what a dog looks like, sounds like, that it's a noun, and that you can pet a dog or a dog barks. So why is it challenging for adults to expand their active vocabulary quickly? Often, it's because our learning methods don't align with how our brain naturally acquires and stores new lexical items effectively for spontaneous use. How the brain learns vocabulary for active use. The brain builds vocabulary connections through context and usage. Let's break it down. 1. Encountering words in rich context. We are more likely to remember a word if we encounter it in a meaningful context, like a story, an interesting article, or a conversation, rather than in an isolated list. Context provides clues to the word's meaning and usage. Real-life example, you might read the sentence, "The arduous climb to the summit was rewarded with a breathtaking view." The surrounding words help you understand that arduous means difficult and tiring. This is far more effective than just seeing arduous, difficult. How does this apply to you? Seek out authentic materials, books, news, podcasts, at your level. When you find a new word, pay attention to the sentence and situation it's used in. 2. Making connections, semantic networking. Our brain organizes words in networks based on meaning. Learning words in families, e.g., happy, joyful, cheerful, delighted, or by topic, e.g., words related to cooking, technology, or emotions, helps create stronger memory links. Real-life example. When learning ecstatic, you might connect it to very happy and think of situations where you'd use it. Winning a lottery, achieving a major goal. How does this apply to you? Don't just learn individual words. Group them by synonyms, antonyms, or themes. Use mind maps or word webs to visualize these connections. 3. Active recall and usage. Passively reading or hearing a word isn't enough. You need to actively try to recall it and use it. This is the crucial step for moving a word from your passive to your active vocabulary. Real-life example. After learning the word ubiquitous, meaning found everywhere, you might consciously try to use it in a sentence later that day. Smartphones have become ubiquitous in modern society. The act of retrieving and using it strengthens the memory. How does this apply to you? After learning a new word, challenge yourself to use it in speaking or writing 3 to 5 times within the next 48 hours. 4. Spaced repetition. Reviewing new words at strategic intervals, shortly after learning, then a day later, then a few days, later, then a week, and so on, is far more effective than cramming. Real-life example, flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet use spaced repetition algorithms. They show you words you're about to forget more frequently. How does this apply to you? Implement a system for reviewing new vocabulary. It could be digital flashcards, a notebook, or simply revisiting your notes regularly. How to train your brain to acquire vocabulary more effectively. Now that we understand the principles, let's look at practical ways to make your vocabulary learning more brain-friendly. 1. Prioritize high-frequency words first. Focus on words that are commonly used in everyday conversation and general texts. The General Service List, GSL, or the New General Service List, NGSL, are good starting points. 2. Learn words in chunks and collocations. Instead of learning decision, learn make a decision. A tough decision, reach a decision. This helps you use words more naturally. 3. Use multiple senses. When learning a word, say it aloud, hearing, speaking, write it down, kinesthetic, visualize its meaning, visual. The more senses involved, the better the retention. 4. Personalize your learning. Connect new words to your own experiences, interests, and emotions. If you learn the word serene, think of a serene place you know. This makes the word more memorable. 5. Don't be afraid to guess from context. When you encounter an unfamiliar word while reading or listening, try to guess its meaning from the surrounding words before looking it up. This active engagement improves learning. Your brain is wired to learn language, including its vast vocabulary. By using methods that align with how your brain works best, you can make vocabulary acquisition more efficient and enjoyable, building a rich lexical resource for fluent communication. In the next section, we'll dive into specific, practical techniques you can start using today to actively grow and use your English vocabulary. Stay tuned. Techniques to master English vocabulary for active use. Now that we understand how our brain best learns words, let's get practical. Here are powerful techniques to not just learn new vocabulary, but to make it a usable part of your active English. Consistency and active engagement are key. 1. The gold list method, or a variation. This is a low-tech but effective method, using a notebook. How it works. Write down a list of 20-25 new words or phrases with their translations or simple English definitions. Read them aloud. 2 weeks later, cover the translations to definitions and test yourself. Rewrite the ones you forgot onto a new list. Repeat the process. Why it works. It incorporates spaced repetition naturally. The act of handwriting also aids memory. It focuses on long-term retention rather than short-term cramming. Example: on day 1, you list ubiquitous, present everywhere. On day 14, you test yourself. If you remember it, great. If not, it goes to a new, shorter list for relearning. 2. The keyword method. This technique involves creating a memorable link between the new word and a word in your native language, or another English word you know, that sounds similar, then creating a vivid mental image. How it works. Take a new word, e.g., ostentatious, meaning showy, pretentious. Find a keyword. Maybe it sounds like Austin Powers, a showy character. Imagine Austin Powers wearing an incredibly flashy, over-the-top outfit. Why it works. It creates a strong, often humorous, visual and acoustic link, making the word stick. Example: for gregarious, sociable, you might think of Greg, who is always with us, at parties. Picture Greg surrounded by people, laughing. 3. The contextual learning and sentence mining method. Instead of isolated words, learn them from real sentences. How to do it. When reading an article or book or watching a show and you find an interesting new word, don't just write the word. Write down the entire sentence it was used in. Why? It works. You see the word in its natural habitat, how it's used grammatically, its collocations, and its nuance. This is far more powerful for active use than a dictionary definition alone. Example: you read, "The company's audacious plan to expand into a new market paid off." You'd note, audacious, a bold and daring plan. Then try to create your own sentence. His audacious attempt to climb the mountain without ropes was criticized. 4. Use vocabulary notebooks. Strategically. Don't just list words and definitions. Make your notebook an active learning tool. How to do it. For each new word, include the word and its pronunciation, IPA if you know it, its definition in simple English, an example sentence, ideally one you found or one you created that's relevant to you, collocations, words it often goes with, synonyms, antonyms, a small drawing or personal connection if helpful. Why it works. This deep processing of the word creates multiple neural pathways, making it easier to recall and use. 5. Active usage practice. The 3-2-3 rule. A word isn't truly yours until you've used it. How to do it. When you learn a new word you want to make active, set a goal to use it 3 times in your speaking, and 3 times in your writing within the next 48 to 72 hours. Example: learned eloquent. Try to describe a speaker as eloquent in a conversation. Write an email praising someone's eloquent speech, and perhaps use it when journaling. Why it works. It forces retrieval and application, cementing the word in your active vocabulary. This moves it from "I recognize this word" to "I can use this word." 6. Word association games. Make learning fun and associative. How to do it. Take a root word and brainstorm related words, e.g., act, actor, action, react, transact, active, activate. Or play synonym, antonym games. You can do this alone or with a study partner. Why it works. It helps you see patterns and families of words, expanding your vocabulary network more efficiently. 7. Leverage technology wisely. Apps like Anki, Memrise, Quizlet, or Vocabulary.com can be great for spaced repetition and practice, but they are tools, not the entire strategy. How to do it. Use these apps for initial exposure and spaced review, but always supplement with contextual learning and active usage. Many apps allow you to create your own flashcards with example sentences. Why it works. They automate review schedules and often include audio and example sentences, which is helpful for pronunciation and context. Mastering vocabulary is an ongoing process. There's no magic bullet, but these techniques applied consistently will significantly boost your ability to learn, retain, and actively use new English words. Remember to choose words that are relevant to your interests and needs. In the next section, we'll outline a daily practice plan to integrate these techniques into your routine. Stay tuned. Daily Practice Plan for Vocabulary Mastery. To truly master vocabulary for fluent conversations, daily intentional practice is essential. Like any skill, consistency builds strength. Here's a manageable daily plan you can adapt to your schedule. The goal is to make vocabulary learning an integrated part of your day, not a separate, burdensome chore. Morning routine, 15 to 20 minutes. Prime your brain for words. 1. Review yesterday's words, 5 minutes. Before learning new words, quickly review the words you focused on the previous day. Use flashcards, digital or physical, or your vocabulary notebook. Active recall is key here. Try to remember the meaning and an example sentence before checking. This reinforces learning. 2. Learn 3-5 new target words, touch phrases, 10-15 minutes. Don't overwhelm yourself. Quality over quantity. Source. Choose these words from your reading, listening, or a curated list relevant to your goals, e.g., academic vocabulary, business English. Deep dive. For each word, use the strategic vocabulary notebook technique mentioned earlier. Write it, define it, find, create example sentences, note collocations, synonyms, antonyms. Say the word and sentence aloud. Try the keyword method for tricky ones. Midday. Practice. 5 to 10 minutes during a break. Active engagement. 3. Contextual encounter. 5 to 10 minutes. During a lunch break or commute, read a short article, a blog post, or listen to a snippet of a podcast in English. Actively look for your new target words or interesting unfamiliar words. If you find one of your target words, mentally note how it's used. If you find a new interesting word, jot it down for later. 4. Quick usage attempt, self-talk, or a note. Try to mentally, or by quickly jotting down, use one of your new target words in a sentence related to what you're doing or thinking about. Example. If you learned diligent, you might think, I need to be diligent in finishing this report. Evening routine, 15-20 minutes. Consolidation and creation. 5th, active usage practice, 10 minutes. This is crucial. Speak. Try to use your 3 to 5 target words in spoken sentences. You can talk to yourself, a language partner, or even record yourself speaking about your day incorporating these words. Write a few sentences or a short paragraph, e.g., a journal entry, a summary of something you read, actively using your target words. Example. If your words were crucial, implement, and efficient, you might write, it's crucial to implement an efficient system for managing tasks. 6. Plan tomorrow's words. 5 minutes. Briefly identify the words you'll focus on the next day. This keeps the momentum going and prepares your mind. Weekend plan. Deeper immersion and review. 7. Extended reading, listening. Dedicate a bit more time to reading books, articles, or watching movies, documentaries in English. Keep a list of interesting vocabulary you encounter. 8. Thematic vocabulary building. Choose a theme for the weekend, e.g., emotions, technology, negotiation, and learn 5 to 10 related words and phrases. 9. Weekly review. Go over all the words you learned during the week. Test yourself. Create a short story or presentation incorporating as many of them as possible. The secret to success. With this plan. Consistency. Even 15-20 minutes daily is more effective than hours once a week. Activeness. Don't just passively look at words. Engage with them. Speak, write, connect. Personalization. Focus on words relevant to your life and interests. Patience. Vocabulary building is a marathon, not a sprint. Celebrate small wins. If you follow this daily practice plan, your active vocabulary will grow steadily, and you'll find yourself using new, more precise words in your English conversations naturally and confidently. Overcoming common problems. In vocabulary learning, expanding your vocabulary is a rewarding journey, but it's not without its bumps. Many learners encounter similar obstacles. Recognizing these challenges and knowing how to tackle them can make all the difference. 1. Forgetting words. Quickly, the leaky bucket syndrome. You learn a word one day, and it's gone the next. How to overcome it. Spaced repetition. This is crucial. Use apps like Anki or a manual system like the Gold List method or calendar reminders to review words at increasing intervals. Depth of processing. Don't just memorize definitions. Use the word in sentences, connect it to your experiences, learn its collocations. The more connections, the stickier it becomes. Active recall. Regularly test yourself. Instead of just rereading a list, try to recall the word and its meaning from scratch. 2. Knowing words. Passively but unable to use them actively. You recognize many words when you read or hear them, but they don't come to mind when you're speaking. How to overcome it. Practice output. Make a conscious effort to use new words in your speaking and writing. Set daily or weekly usage goals for target vocabulary. Shadowing with focus on lexis. When listening and repeating, pay attention to the specific words and phrases used and try to incorporate them into your own speech later. Think in English. When thinking to yourself, try to use your new vocabulary. Describe your surroundings or narrate your actions using the words you're learning. 3. Learning words. Out of context. Memorizing long random lists of words is often ineffective because you don't learn how they are actually used. How to overcome. Learn from authentic materials. Encounter words in articles, books, conversations, movies. Note the entire sentence. Focus on collocations and chunks. Learn words as part of phrases, e.g., make progress, not just progress. This makes them easier to use correctly. Use a good learner's dictionary that provides example sentences, e.g., Oxford, Cambridge, Longman. 4th, feeling overwhelmed by too many words. The sheer volume of English vocabulary can feel daunting. How to overcome it. Prioritize. Focus on high-frequency words first, then words relevant to your specific needs and interests, e.g., academic, business, hobbies. You don't need to know every word. Set realistic goals. Aim to actively learn a small number of words, e.g., 35 per day or 20-30 per week, rather than trying to memorize hundreds. Focus on quality over quantity. It's better to truly master 5 words and be able to use them than to vaguely recognize 55, not knowing which words to learn. With so many words, how do you choose how to overcome it? Your needs. First, what do you use English for? If it's for your IT job, focus on tech. Vocabulary. If it's for travel, learn words related to that. Frequency lists. Start with lists like the new General Service List, NGSL, or Academic Word List, AWL, if you're in academia. Follow your interests. Learn words related to topics you genuinely enjoy reading or talking about. This makes learning more engaging. 6. Fear of using new words incorrectly. This fear can prevent you from practicing and activating your vocabulary. How to overcome it. Embrace mistakes. Mistakes are learning opportunities. It's better to try and use a word, even if slightly incorrectly at first, than to never use it. Practice in safe environments. Talk to yourself. Write in a journal or find a supportive language partner or tutor who encourages you. Seek feedback. If possible, get feedback on your word usage, but don't let the fear of imperfection paralyze you. 7. Lack of motivation or consistency. Vocabulary learning is a long-term commitment, and it's easy to lose steam. How to overcome it? Make it a habit. Integrate vocabulary learning into your daily routine, like brushing your teeth. Track your progress. Keep a visible record of the words you've learned and can use. Seeing how far you've come is motivating. Make it fun. Use games, interesting materials, and connect with other learners. Remember your why. Keep your reasons for learning English in mind to stay focused. Every learner faces these challenges to some degree. The key is to be aware of them and proactively use strategies to overcome them. With consistent effort and smart techniques, you can build a robust and active English vocabulary. Blast off. Final tips and encouragement. Keep expanding your word power. Congratulations! You've navigated through the essentials of mastering English vocabulary for fluent conversations. Remember, building a rich vocabulary is like cultivating a garden. It requires consistent tending, the right tools and patience, but the blooms, your expressive and confident communication, are well worth the effort. Now, let's go over some final powerful tips and words of encouragement to help you stay motivated and continue to grow your active English vocabulary. 1. Read widely and voraciously. Reading is one of the single best ways to encounter new words in context. Read. What interests you? Novels, news, blogs, magazines. The more you read, the more vocabulary you'll absorb. Example: if you love science fiction, read sci-fi books. You'll naturally pick up vocabulary related to that genre and beyond. 2. Be an active noticer. When you read or listen, actively look for new words, interesting phrases, and good collocations. Don't just let them pass by. Keep a small notebook or a notes app on your phone to quickly jot them down. Example: watching a movie? Turn on English subtitles and pause when you hear a great phrase. Note it down. 3. Use it or lose it. This is the golden rule for active vocabulary. Make a conscious effort to use the new words you're learning in your daily conversations and writing. The more you retrieve and use a word, the stronger its neural pathway becomes. Example: set a word of the day week for yourself and challenge yourself to use it naturally in conversation at least 3 times. 4. Review regularly, but smartly. Don't just cram. Use spaced repetition. A quick 5 to 10 minute review daily is more effective than an hour once a week. Focus on recalling the word from its meaning or context, not just recognizing it. Example: use Anki or a similar app for a few minutes while waiting for the bus or during a coffee break. 5. Don't be afraid of a dictionary, but use it wisely. A good learner's dictionary, like Oxford, Cambridge, Merriam-Webster learners, is your friend. Look up words, yes, but pay most attention to the example sentences and collocations. Example: when you look up versatile, don't just read able to adapt to many different functions. Look at examples like a versatile actor or a versatile tool. 6. Personalize your vocabulary journey. Learn words that are relevant and interesting to you. If you connect new words to your own experiences, hobbies, and goals, they'll be much more memorable and useful. Example: if you're a passionate cook, focus on culinary vocabulary. You'll be more motivated to learn and use it. Final words. you are capable of building an impressive and active English vocabulary. If you've absorbed the ideas in this episode, you're already well on your way. Mastering vocabulary isn't about innate talent. It's about consistent, strategic effort. You don't need to know every word in the dictionary. You need to know the right words for you and be able to use them. Your brain is designed for this. Trust the process, enjoy the discovery of new words, and celebrate your progress. English vocabulary is your toolkit for clearer, richer, and more confident communication. Keep practicing, keep learning, and soon you'll find the right words flowing naturally. So, what's the next step? Start today. Pick 3 to 5 words from this podcast or something you read today, and begin actively working with them. Your vocabulary will grow one word, one phrase, one sentence at a time. Keep going and never stop learning. What are your favorite techniques for learning new vocabulary? Share them in the comments and I'll be happy to discuss them. Let's learn together. I hope you found this podcast helpful and that you're now feeling more confident about mastering English vocabulary for fluent conversations. Remember, building a rich vocabulary is a continuous journey, not a destination. It's about consistent practice, enjoying the process, and believing in your ability to learn and use new words effectively. Your journey to articulate fluency is in your hands.
The more you read, listen, speak, write, and engage with English words, the more powerful your communication will become. So, don't stop now. Keep going, keep learning, and keep expanding your word power. We'd love to hear from you. What was your
biggest takeaway from today's episode? What challenges do you face in learning vocabulary? Share your thoughts, ideas, and questions in the comments. Your feedback helps us create better content for you. And who knows, your question might be the topic of our next podcast episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, support us by subscribing to the channel so you never miss an episode, liking this podcast if you found it helpful, sharing it with friends who are also learning English. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Your dedication to learning is truly inspiring. Keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and I'll see you in the next episode of English Listening and Speaking YouTube channel. Until next time, happy learning.